welcome back to another episode of the Dumpster Diaries. I am Moses Wartooth, and I'm here with
Justin Allen.
And we got stuff to talk about, so cut to the chase, Justin. What do you got for me today?
Well, I think the first thing we need to talk about right off the bat is, we always try to start with like current events in the news, right? And I think the big thing that seems to be hitting the news lately is China in like a variety of ways.
Yeah, they're fucking hitting us from multiple angles.
Yeah, Xi Jinping, whatever, like they're fucking, well, I guess he's not a dictator according to like the State Department, but whatever.
That's one of those, like after that debacle, I kind of thought, I was like, would he really take offense to that? I think maybe he will just because he can, but I think on the inside he's like, yeah, you goddamn right.
I did watch like where Biden was like talking about China, and he was referring to like, what is he's not their president, he's a prime minister, right?
I believe so.
And he was referring to Xi Jinping, right? Like, and he was like calling him a dictator. And then if you look at like Blinken is his name, but like he's the Secretary of the state or whatever, and so runs the State Department, deals with like all of our foreign affairs and all that stuff, right? And our relationship with all these other countries, to include China. But when you see the look on his face when Joe Biden refers to him as a dictator, he just is like, oh God, like I'm gonna have to clean this mess up.
Visual representation of son of a bitch.
Yeah, that's literally what it is. But I think the big one we need to talk about, because these are all interesting, these points we want to make with China and our relationship and what's going on right now with them, is the Chinese biolabs, man.
Yeah, in America.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, China apparently has been setting up fucking biolabs in the United States, under the table, completely unsanctioned, no license, no regulating, nothing like that, and it's completely off the grid, man. And we don't even know half of what the hell they have in these things.
No.
So I don't know. Do you know a little bit more about that?
Let's let the video speak for itself.
Okay. All right, yeah, we do have like some clips for this episode, so we'll just pull this up, man. We'll see what these guys have to say about it, but it's pretty alarming, actually.
It is. Kind of makes you wonder.
Yeah.
Including this next story, the House Select Subcommittee on China that you're a part of says it found pathogens labeled HIV and Ebola inside a secret illegal Chinese-owned biolab in California. Here's an important moment from the hearing you took part in earlier this week. Watch.
How many of these labs exist throughout the country? We don't know that. There could be more Reedley, Californias around the country.
Every elected official in this country should be concerned about whether an illicit lab with dangerous infectious substances could be hiding in their community.
It has been almost a year since the discovery of the illegal lab, and we are still working to remove the chemicals and illegal medical devices on site.
You asked the main question, Congressman.
It's been a year, and we're just now hearing about it?
Yeah. That's suspicious as hell, dude. And then they said they had HIV, which I get, it's not too crazy, but Ebola?
Yeah.
Ebola, dude. Remember that shit when it was like spreading in America and everybody was freaking the fuck out?
That was crazy.
Dude, like, shit literally makes you bleed from like your eyes and ears and stuff, like every orifice in your body, man. So I don't know. All right. My question to you is, what do you think China's intention is here? Why are they setting up shop here, and why are they doing it back in their homeland?
Okay, my thinking on that is, so we had the lab in Wuhan. We were funding that shit.
True.
So then maybe they're like, you can do illegal shit on our land and we'll do illegal shit on your land. And then we'll just, if it ever gets found out, we'll just blame the other person. Because I highly doubt a Chinese super lab is going to be totally unbeknownst to some American person.
Yeah.
What's the location? What are they doing? People are nosy, especially our government.
Sneaky Chinese.
Do you think that they could just come and set up a lab without anyone knowing? And, a lab of that scale.
Yeah, I don't know. And then it said it was in California. Like, if it would have been out in the middle of a desert somewhere.
Yeah, like Montana or some shit. That's more believable.
It's like Area 51 shit going on or something, But I don't know. I've said it before and I'll say it again, man. We have got to stop the Chinese from being able to purchase United States land.
Yes, 100%.
Why is that a thing?
That makes no sense.
Why? Why can Chinese, Russian, I'm not talking about like American citizens who have Chinese descent or like Russian descent or whatever, or dual citizenship. I'm talking about legitimate
people that live in China and don't even live here at all.
Yeah.
They buy the land in America from China. How can they even step foot over?
How can they own 10,000 acres of farmland next to a military base?
Yeah.
And like that's one thing. I'm not a big fan of Ron DeSantis, but that was one thing Ron DeSantis did put it into in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
He stopped he shut that shit down.
Didn't we do that in Texas as well?
Yeah.
I think that was one of the new. Wasn't that one of the new laws that passed?
Either it was or it's about to. Like they're trying. It was definitely in writing.
I remember
at one
seeing
point.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it might actually be a thing. We need to look that shit up.
I think it was in one. I feel like that was on one of the Texas laws that we talked about that episode, but I don't remember for sure.
Dude, it might have been. Oh, it's been so long. Well, it was September 1st.
Too long.
It's almost Thanksgiving. I'm worried about turkey and shit.
We got a lot of news.
It's been a lot. It's been a little crazy here lately, so it's kind of hard to keep track of all the shit that's going down, right? But I don't know, man. The Chinese, I mean, they seem to be just like coming over here and basically just ransacking the country, you know? And
they're allowed to do it.
Makes you wonder, man.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder. So, like, I know the other thing that we want to talk about, because we had 3 points with the Chinese that we wanted to make. And like I said, once again, this is their government, right? That we're focusing on. So the Chinese
it's not the Chinese people.
Yeah. So the illegal Chinese grow ops, like cannabis grow ops. Oh my God. Have you seen this shit?
In America.
Yeah, dude. So like apparently the Chinese, so the cartels did this shit for the longest time.
Yeah.
Like we'd hear about them getting busted in Texas all the time. They get busted in California all the time. And they bring in, they use coyotes, get illegal immigrants over here, make them work in these fields out in the mountains or whatever. And they just grow a shit ton of weed and they sell it illegally, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure some of that gets funneled in dispensaries somewhere,
Probably.
But so apparently the Chinese found out about this little racket and they've gotten in on it in the great state of Maine, which is one of my favorite states actually. But yeah, so I guess they got a bunch of people out there, man, just like running out in the woods, just setting up shop, dude.
I guess so.
But we do have a video we want to play over it though.
Just so you know, we're not bullshitting.
We're not full of shit.
The threat America faces from China taking a sinister new turn as Chinese investors are reportedly behind hundreds of illegal marijuana cultivation sites right here in the U.S., with more than 100 growing operations in the state of Maine alone. Our next guest says Chinese crime networks and Mexican cartels are taking advantage of soft on crime policies right here in the U.S. Former DEA Special Ops Director Derek Maltz is here to explain.
All right, so they got at least 100 grow ops that we know of in
that's
Maine.
Just in one state.
Yeah, dude. Oh my God, man.
So
why?
This would be eliminated if they would just legalize weed.
Well, yeah,
because then there would be no point.
Well, the thing that's weird is weed is legal in Maine, but also the weed that's being harvested there, I would bet it's leaving the state. It's
Probably
going to a state where it is illegal, where it's still more expensive.
Yeah.
Because I would imagine, like, if weed is legal in a state, right, and you get caught growing illegally, they just come in and cut your plants down. You might get a fine or whatever. It's not going to be a huge deal.
Yeah.
Right? Now, operations like that might be a little different, but whatever.
But I mean, really, if the people, the owners obviously are still living in China. They're not farming weed over here.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't make a shit to them if they get caught anyways.
True. Yeah.
I mean, they have really no repercussions.
It's kind of fucking sad the people they exploit to do that kind of shit and stuff too, man. And especially if you get down in those like documentaries where you start seeing like state police and DEA and stuff and they start raiding these compounds, man. It's like most of these people don't even speak English.
No. And those people are literally just, I mean, that's a job. They're not
slaves.
Yeah.
Basically, I mean, call it what it is. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know, man, but definitely need to crack down on that. That's for fucking sure. Cause I don't know, man, but I don't know. What is the deal with wanting to set up shop in America like that?
Just like shit in our face.
Just like a fuck you and I get to make some money on top of it. Yeah.
Like, you're so stupid. We're literally operating your own country and there's nothing you're doing about it.
When did we get on the point where we just started like sucking China's dick, dude?
Probably whenever Biden got elected.
Yeah, it's definitely increased since then.
And I mean, with our open border shit, they can literally just come straight on in.
Well, that is true, yeah. Because we covered that the last episode, man. Like we were talking about that, man. Like, and I watched RFK Jr. He went down to the southern border recently.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he basically did the same thing that Elon Musk did. We talked about in Eagle Pass or whatever. And RFK Jr. went down there and he interviewed migrants trying to come over, and he interviewed like agents working down there. And he said out of the entire night that he was there, just a shit ton of people he interviewed, right? He said only two families were from Mexico.
Yeah, man, that's the crazy thing.
He said a lot of them were from like Africa and the Middle East.
Yeah.
He said like a few Chinese and stuff like that. And I was like, whoa, buddy, holy shit. Okay, yeah, you got to build that wall like now.
Yeah.
You know, and like properly fund like our border agents and stuff like that.
I mean, just authorize them to kill.
I mean, that would, I know it sounds fucking harsh, man, but that's
what is it? You kill a few to save a lot? I mean,
kill one, scare 1,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the Art of War by Sun Tzu. Like, hey, it's actually a Chinese like warrior too.
Well, I mean, he knew what he was talking about.
He did. Yeah, he actually did. He had another one too that said, I think when a soldier is put in a position where like death is imminent, like there's no chance of survival, that is actually when they will fight the hardest and the bravest.
Makes sense.
And once they accept the fact that death is inevitable, like there's nothing that'll stop them. It's kind of cool. Think about. I mean, I wouldn't want to try it out, you know, like, you know. But anyway, man. So like going back to shitting on China, dude. Like one thing, and I know I wanted to talk about this point specifically because this does not make me feel good at all. So did you see all the shit that was happening in San Francisco?
Yeah, about our little bullshit cleanup party.
Yeah, so they have like the APEC like conference coming up or whatever, world leaders getting together. And so one of them was Xi Jinping from China, right? He comes over. And so the city of San Francisco,
which everyone knows is a total shithole, right?
Total shithole. Like as far as the eye can see, just literally just a shanty town. Like it's just tent city. There's people
homeless, drug use, passed out, fentanyl.
Yeah, dude, shitting on the streets,
slums, man.
Dude, they have an app where you can literally like pin where human shit is, so you know where not to go, just in case you want to step in some shit or something.
Don't step on the corner of 17th and 42nd. There's a shit pile.
Yeah, dude. So Biden's obviously going to be down there with Xi Jinping, right, and all this other stuff, and they kind of have like, you know, ceremonial, like, oh, we're gonna drive through the city and all this other shit, right? And so what the fuck they do? They clean up the entire city like overnight, dude. Like all these people disappear. They fucking scrub the streets. They clean up graffiti. They get all the needles out of the streets. Everything.
Which proves that they could do it at any time.
They just didn't do it for our people.
Yeah.
They did it for a foreign fucking dictator, and that's what pisses me off the most. And on top of that, they had nothing but Chinese flags waving everywhere. There wasn't an American flag in sight, dude.
That's some bullshit.
Oh yeah, dude. And then fucking they had like their ceremony where Xi Jinping was coming to like meet Biden or whatever. And you know, they typically have like, you know, what is it, like the what do you call them, the honor guard or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's typically like Marines that you'll see at the White House, and they're like opening the doors for these guys, and it's all very like formal and they look professional as hell. But our guys, our Marines, are not holding American flags. They're holding Chinese flags.
They didn't have any Chinese guys to do that shit. Like he didn't bring any Chinese people with, like Chinese military members.
You think if we went to fucking China, they'd be fucking holding an American flag?
Hell no.
Or we went to Russia, you think they'd be holding an American flag? Hell no, dude. But I guess when your boss visits, you know, you gotta clean up
the place.
You gotta clean it up, dude. And that's what it is, man. That's all it is. It's like, you know, it's like his daddy was coming to say hi, you know. So
like,
check up on some things.
My dad's coming home. I gotta clean my room up.
It's like, oh, I'm coming to fucking see how my grow ops are doing in my bio labs, you know.
He's like, you guys still got all those AIDS vials out here?
Hey, where's my Ebola at? You know. So, but I know we have a video that we want to play, and it's from Sky News in Australia. So we're trying to diversify our news sources a little bit.
Because they're all bullshit.
US President Joe Biden will meet Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, China's Xi Jinping, and other world leaders at the summit later on this week.
More than a dozen world leaders are coming here to San Francisco this week for the annual APEC summit. And the city is making a big push to clean its image up, literally. Hundreds of public workers clearing homeless encampments, picking up trash and washing graffiti, hoping to hide the city's recent struggles with crime and drug use in a once thriving downtown. Critics say the timing of this cleanup is purely political.
San Francisco is an embarrassment, and they don't care about the residents. They only care about impressing Xi Jinping. If it weren't so sad, it would actually be funny.
And then there's the protesters.
always fucking protesters.
Yeah. We don't even want to like talk about those guys.
Doesn't matter what it is.
But yeah, man, and like I saw like videos on X, dude, like there was like some hardcore patriots. They were coming down the street and they were just ripping down these Chinese flags, and they were trying to replace them with American flags and stuff. And people were like trying to fight them and shit over it. Like, yeah,
unless you're a Chinese person, you better shut the fuck up. Like,
even still, dude, like, come on, man, America first, dude. You know?
I mean, like, unless you're on vacation from China, you're actually standing up.
Oh man, yeah, but like, what is the deal, man? With like Biden's, like, he's just like all over China's nuts, dude. And I can't.
I mean, he was all over Saudi Arabia's nuts when he was trying to get that oil too.
Yeah. Does a little throwback to that Chappelle Show skit or whatever. God, that was like the greatest skit ever, where you played a Black Bush.
Oh yeah.
George Bush. Well, if he was George Bush, was like president was a black guy, right? And then it's like the reporter asked him, like, some people say, like you're trying to invade Iraq, as an excuse to get to the oil. And he's like, oil? He's like, you said anything about oil, bitch? Somebody cooking? And he like knocks over that glass of water and runs off. So I don't know. There's definitely some sort of like weird backdoor shit going on there, man. And who knows? I mean, Biden's been in politics like his entire adult life, damn near.
Yeah.
So who knows what fucking deals?
There's no way to think that he wouldn't have connections all over the world.
Absolutely, man. Like that 10% to the big guy shit, man. I'm sure that shit was ironed out years ago before we even thought about it.
Yeah, for sure.
I was even watching the news. Somehow they got a hold of that check, and they broke it down, like how that money was funneled and everything. And it was like one of his family members wrote him a check for exactly $40,000, which came to be like 10% of like this 400,000 or whatever. And I watched it. It was a very convoluted process, but they did really good of like simplifying it. But yeah, and you can see clearly where at some point like Hunter Biden controlled that money and stuff, and it was just like, dude, it's just dirty as fuck. And I'm like, man, dude, like, I just can't wait to the next fucking election, dude. I don't give a fuck. At this point, I don't give a fuck who wins as long as it's not Biden, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
I really don't think that he's running. Like, I mean, he claims. I
mean, his body is up there. But I mean,
well, I mean, he said in the past that he was going to run.
Yeah.
But you haven't heard him say shit about that lately. Like in months, dude. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he backs out, man.
I mean, I hope he doesn't. Because there's no way he could win. Like, easy win. Yeah, there's no way he could win.
Well, I was also reading too that like the top 3 Republican like candidates or whatever are all beating Biden.
Okay.
Individually.
I mean, that's why I hope he runs then.
So it's like literally like any of those top 3 guys could make it at this fucking point, and then they would just kick his ass.
But if it's like that, they're not gonna let him run. Like they're gonna swap. They're gonna swap him out.
They'll find somebody else, man. But he's just a crooked son of a bitch, man. The more you look at it, the more you read into it, you're like, oh my god, like how, dude? And like, I mean, did you hear about the shit that he's pulling with RFK Jr. and his Secret Service?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, dude. So
that's insane.
All right, so for those of you who don't know, like any presidential candidate gets Secret Service detail, right? Makes sense. And since the creation of the Secret Service, every single candidate in history for the United States, right, for president of the United States, has received Secret Service detail for them and their immediate families. Cool. No big deal. But for whatever reason, and there's been no like justifiable reason, Biden himself has directed the Secret Service to cease supporting RFK Jr.'s family. So he gets no Secret Service protection. And that guy's house has been broken in twice by like some fucking lunatics.
He better seriously watch himself, because they're obviously trying to kill him.
Yeah, I think he poses like a real threat to like Democrats.
Yeah.
And I think now it's kind of hard to just like fucking assassinate somebody, right? But I think they're just like, hey, maybe if we just step out of the way, something crazy might happen, and that might just solve a problem for us, right?
I mean, they got the professional Clintons on the job. Like, anything's possible.
No, they're getting old, man. They're getting old.
Old Hillary's still got a few
Hillary just like seasoned out, dude. She can't.
She got something. She can still drop that poison in the cup.
You remember those videos where she's trying to get in the fucking SUV or whatever after like a rally, and she starts like having a seizure or whatever.
They're just like, get it.
Literally, the Secret Service is just like hovering around her, like trying to block out the cameras, and they just push her into the van or whatever, or push her into the SUV and then drive off.
You old stumbling bitch.
It's a funny clip, man. Yeah, you gotta find it sometime, dude. Like, it's worth watching, dude. Because like at first you're like, oh, maybe she tripped or maybe she was like moving around.
Yeah.
And then like you start seeing it, and then like I'm like, fuck. My mom used to have seizures, dude, like hardcore. So I was like, that's a seizure, like 100%. Like, there's no denying
that shit.
Yeah. And then some people were like, it's not a seizure. She's still standing. I was like, oh, you can have a seizure while you're still standing. 100%, dude. But I don't know. We like the Ring and Mordor. We just cast her into the fire. So hopefully she never comes crawling back out. But she's more like Gollum, really.
Yeah.
Talking about the president, she's just like, my precious.
You stood in for me.
Yeah. She's slowly turning into Gollum. Holy shit, man.
But yeah, man, the RFK shit, that's crazy. And I know like there's multiple.
It's dirty, man.
It is. I was watching Theo Vaughn, and he had Dana White on, and he was talking about
UFC guy, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
President or whatever.
Yep. And he was talking about that. Theo said after he interviewed RFK, a bunch of his sponsors called him and was like, hey, you need to pull that down. Pull the whole episode down.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. And Theo was like, no, I'm not pulling it down. It was Peloton specifically. The fucking exercise bike motherfuckers.
Yeah, but who buys that piece of shit anyway?
Okay, so Dana White was like, he got pissed off about it because he likes RFK. He was like, that's bullshit. He was like, what's that motherfucker look like? So they Googled the CEO of Peloton, and then Dana and Theo just went on. They were like, you pencil neck motherfucker. And then Dana was like, wait, I think I have Pelotons in my gym. So he like on the air right then, he was like, hey, do we have Pelotons in the gym? And the guy, the owner, whatever, the manager, whatever the fuck was like, yeah, we do. He was like, get them the fuck out of there right now. We're not using them ever again.
They just ripped him out of their gym?
Yeah, immediately. He was like, fuck that guy. That's bullshit.
Dude, holy shit, man. Because like, here's the thing. I feel like now I'm remembering Dana White. I think like I think most logical people are like this. Like, for example, like RFK Jr., like I don't agree with all of his policies.
But he's not, like, they're like vilifying that dude.
Yeah, dude. And it's like, at least his thoughts are like well thought out. He lays them out. Like, he's not hiding anything.
Yeah.
And all these other crooked motherfuckers, like, they'll get up and say like some generic shit or whatever, but they don't really, it's all like vapid. There's no substance to it.
Textbook response shit.
Yeah, dude, like, so I don't know, man. Like, and I think that's a part of like what's starting to really piss me off. But I feel like the narrative in America is starting to change, right? Because it used to be where like that cancel culture, that kind of shit was acceptable and it was cool, right? Like you would find somebody, you'd be like, oh, they said this, or we don't like this person, so they'll get canceled or shadow banned or whatever it may be, right? And be like, fuck this guy or whatever. Let's hit their money, fuck with their advertisements, whatever it may be. But now that's kind of becoming a thing where like once people realize that, it backfires on them.
Yeah,
and it's gaining more traction.
The big companies still don't care enough for whatever. Like they're obviously getting paid somehow if they're gonna feel that way.
Have fun, go to town, bitch, because that's only gonna work for a couple more fucking years, dude. And then eventually people are just gonna get so fed up. I'm telling you, man, watch this next election. It's gonna be so overwhelming, like for the Republican candidate. Like people are getting tired of this shit, man.
If it's honest,
because that dirty shit, like what happened to Theo, like with RFK Jr. and like even like the Secret Service stuff with Biden. Like that's not American, dude. Like that's not what America was founded on. Like
but we're doing all kinds of shit that's not about America nowadays.
I know, but I'm telling you, man, I think the ship is turning, dude.
You think people are finally starting to get pissed off enough?
I think they are, man.
I don't know, man. I feel like for every smart person, there's a total fucking moron.
I get optimistic and then I read our YouTube comments and then I'm like, well, fuck, here we go, dude. I don't know. I got a little fired up there for like 2 seconds. But I don't know, man. Like, I mean, I have hope. I think it's good. But anyway, RFK Jr. though, he's been like, he was saying that his entire life, like he's had to have like private security and stuff. I mean, because his uncle was JFK, he was assassinated. His like father was assassinated, right? Like, so he's like, yeah, man. He's like,
I guess with that look, like it doesn't look good for him.
I know.
Is he gonna make it to the election, man?
2-0 right now, dude. Like,
he very well may not make it to the election. Like,
dude, I'm telling you, if something happens to that dude, it is going to be, I don't it's just, one, it's going to be a crazy fucking conspiracy. For sure. I don't know if you want to call it a conspiracy.
It won't be.
Yeah.
I mean, there'll be multiple theories of what happened, but it'll all end like at the end of the day, he got.
But if something happens to that dude from like a professional, like you could tell like it was a pro job or something like that, right? Like it was a hired job. I think now the state we're in, everyone will just, it's like our democracy is so fragile right now. I think everyone will just lose faith in the entire system. And that's bad. You don't.
But like, at the same time, what are they what are we gonna do about it? Like,
true. I mean, that's what the fucked up part is. It's like, like we literally sit in a bunker and bitch, but
like they could literally come out and be like, yeah, 12 a.m. tomorrow. He gets it. Like,
yeah, he's getting it or whatever, and then we could be like, well, fuck, somebody should do something about this. Like looking around. Look like that John Travolta gif from like Pulp Fiction where he's just like looking around and shit. Oh, sorry, man. I've been stopped up, man. I had this wicked cough for a few days. Might be the Wuhan wheeze. I don't know. We'll see.
Coming back for revenge.
But I guess like fundamentally, this goes back on one of our principles. Fundamentally, it is important to be able to defend yourself and your property.
Absolutely.
Right? And well, say by extension, your family as well. Stuff's like you yourself, your family, and your property, right?
Yes.
And there's that. I mean, that's a big part, of America, man. It's Second Amendment, like, right? And there's always some bitches out there, typically not in Texas, but like some states like California, which we're about to get onto right now.
Wasn't that where an illegal Chinese lab was found too?
There
when
you
they cleaned
go.
up the streets? Yeah,
they're always trying to like fuck legal gun owners, man.
Yeah, for sure.
And their streets run rampant.
They have
crime.
some of the most strict gun laws, but they have one of the largest gun crimes in the fucking United States.
Yeah, dude. So like there's a story about a California man. He was coming home from the gym or whatever. And now he lived in a nice neighborhood. He lived in a $2 million house. Now, I don't know how or why he was targeted, but 2 gunmen come up behind him while he's trying to get his keys in the door. And he just like fucking opens fire, dude.
California, man.
Yeah, dude. And he just like, they fucked around and found out, dude. And I don't think he killed them, but he ended up in like a straight up like shootout. Like, and he had like video cameras all around his house and stuff. Yeah. So it was all caught up on film, but we have the clip. I want us to watch it, man, so you can see it. And then we'll talk about what's happening to this guy now.
Town with that story for us tonight, Sophie.
Michelle, we spoke to the man who defended himself and his family after 2 intruders tried to enter his home. He wanted to remain anonymous because this is still an ongoing investigation. Terrifying surveillance video shows a masked intruder with a gun run up to this mid-city man about to walk in his front door. The homeowner pulls out his gun to defend himself, firing shots at the 2 intruders, quickly entering a shootout.
I guess they decided to try to come at me and come in the house, but I have a 5-month-old baby and a wife, nanny in the house, and that wasn't going to happen. There was nothing in my house that was worth dying for, but I was willing to die for my family.
The shootout happened Saturday night around 7:30. The homeowner walks to the front door grabbing for his keys. 2 intruders jump the front gate. 1 intruder runs up to the front door. The mid-city man throws his tea, pulls out his gun, and starts shooting.
And I don't know why I felt someone run up behind me, put something to my back, and then put a pistol to my back, and somebody else run it up.
When shots are fired, the intruders disperse. 1 fires back, scrambling to hop over the side fence. The other hops over the front gate and runs away. After the attack, the family filed a report with the LAPD Olympic Division.
It's a matter of time before these people are going to get caught. I think they should just pick a new career before they do end up in jail.
We reached out to LAPD Olympic Division for more information about the suspects, but did not hear back. Live in Koreatown, Sophie Flay.
Whew. Well,
so my property is worth somebody's life. I don't really care what anyone has to say about that. Like, that's how I feel.
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
If you're going to break into my shit, I have the right to do whatever I want to.
Yeah, I don't give a shit if it's an old VCR. Yeah. Like, that's mine, brother.
You ain't taking my VHS tape.
I got this shit. What country did we say was...
Oh, damn it.
Was it Nigeria?
I don't think so.
Oh, yeah. Anyway.
I don't remember.
Yeah, we'll skip past that. I was going to try to plug that.
Steam engines.
But yeah, man. So, like, I felt like what that guy did was totally in his right to do.
100%.
Right? But California's one of those shitty fucking states where every gun's got to be registered and you have to have a permit for all that stuff, right? So, as of now, they have revoked his gun permit for the video you just watched. So he can't carry a gun right now.
I mean, that's fine. I would still carry one.
I would. I mean, I fundamentally don't believe those laws are even constitutional.
No.
To be honest with you. But I just thought it was a little excessive. And some stuff that I was reading online, people are calling for like excessive use of force and like all this other shit. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, it was
okay. Well, then let somebody do the same shit to you and see what you're gonna do. Are you gonna let them break into your house and kill your baby and rape your wife? Like,
yeah, just steal all your shit.
Yeah,
like fuck, dude. California, man, we just. I don't know, man. That's
why they're moving to Texas.
Yeah. I like to think it's the good ones that are moving to Texas, man.
We hope so.
Yeah. We'll see. I don't know. The next election will show us everything we need to know. I guess that'll really make a big point.
Yeah, well, it depends on when they're going to let all the illegals vote.
But I don't know, man. I mean, people, like, America's just gotten so fucking backwards here lately, man. Like, I mean, I literally feel like I'm in an episode of fucking, or like I'm in Alice in Wonderland. Like, up is down, left is right, yeah. Backwards is forwards. It's like, what the fuck, I just don't know, man. And like, because the biggest thing here recently, aside from all the stuff we've talked about that I just saw before I came over here and I had to read into it a little bit. Have you seen the letter to America written by bin Laden? All right, leader of fucking Al-Qaeda, fucking started fucking 9/11, all that shit, right? His message to America, like, so he wrote like a manifesto, like a letter, has started to resurface online, and a shit ton of young, like teenagers, very young adults on TikTok have supported him, shared it. They sympathize with him. They understand, like, they agree with like his ideologies and this shit. It got so bad that like fucking TikTok had to fucking take that shit down. But I think it was like over 300 videos were created and shared and stuff like that had it on there. That's the wildest shit in the world, dude.
Okay, it's got to be real bad for TikTok to take that down.
That's what I'm saying. Too, yeah, because TikTok doesn't take shit down.
TikTok is literally ran by the Chinese. So like even they were like, whoa, we gotta like, that's crazy.
But like, my thing is like, these are like American kids, man, and we're talking
American idiots.
Yeah, that was a good Green Day album too. That was like the last album where they were good.
Yeah.
After that, all downhill. But anyway, fucking it just kind of had me thinking. I was like, bro, like, that's not even like an entire generation away from that happening. Like, I remember that shit happening.
But that shit got me thinking, did they teach 9/11 in school?
I don't know, man. I don't have kids.
I
would imagine they have to. Well, probably not in all schools.
I bet they don't, because if they have outdated
they do.
I don't know. Do they have updated textbooks? Because if their textbooks are that outdated, which
who fucking knows?
We know, man. Like, even I know whenever we were kids, like, our shit would be 20 years old.
True.
So if it's not in the book, they're not going to teach it.
I just think also, like, it just became like a trendy thing for whatever reason, and then everyone wanted to be like, "Oh, that's the new thing. Like, I'm gonna be a part of this." You know what I mean?
It's the same with Hamas supporting bullshit,
dude. And I was just like, "What the fuck, man?" And so I would say that shit right there, kids, the youngest generation in our country, believing the manifestos and ideologies of one of the worst terrorists to ever walk the face of this earth and an outright enemy of the United States. If your child believes that is two problems that happen there. It is a failure of your public education, or whatever education they receive, whether it's public or private, but a failure of education. And it is a failure as a parent.
Yeah, that for sure.
And that the parent part is the big one on that, man. Like, because if you're raising a little fucking psycho and you're letting them on fucking TikTok, and then all of a sudden they start coming out talking about how they support like the fucking Taliban and Al-Qaeda and how America got it all fucking wrong.
Like, I'm not saying domestic violence is good, but it might make you question some shit if you heard that.
Yeah, dude. But it was just the wildest shit, man, that I'd read, man. And so I go and I try to find bin Laden's letter to America, right? And I'm like scouring the internet and I can't find this fucking thing, man. I'm like, where the fuck? Like, how is this so fucking hard to like? Because there's all kinds of crazy people that have written manifestos.
Like, so even X took it down?
I didn't search on X, actually. I should have done that.
I bet
it's on there.
I don't know, man.
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
I don't know. But
I don't know.
I had very few like Google searches come up for it. The only Google searches that came up were in reference to the TikTok movement.
Saying that it was taken down.
Yeah. And so the only thing that I could find that was like remotely close was just a Wikipedia page about it.
Oh, okay. Like a Cliff Note thing?
Yeah, like where they just gave a synopsis and there was like snippets of it, but it wasn't the entire document. I wanted
what was
to read
some of the stuff in it?
Man, so essentially it's bin Laden's letter to America, and he just talks about how we got to the point we are now. Like, so it was written in 2002, so just after 9/11. And And he says, essentially, he talks about how the United States has been involved in the Middle East. I mean, he went on like a large rant about shit from what I could tell. But our involvement in the Middle East, essentially sucking resources out of there, condemned us for not adopting Sharia law, like Islamic law. Have fun with that if you like getting caned in the streets.
Fingers and hands.
Yeah, dude. Condemned us for some of our beliefs, such as usury, which is interest, as far as like finances go.
Oh, okay. AKA a stab at the Jews again.
Yeah. And so he has specifically attacked Israel in the document. I saw that clip about how essentially that part of the world, and he claimed that Palestine was its own free independent state and that it owned all that land and that Israel had no right to even exist, and basically condemned the United States for supporting Israel. Then he gave all these like terms and conditions, like basically if you meet these things, then the jihad will stop. Right. Yeah. Like they'll back off the United States. And it was just crazy shit. It was like essentially remove all influence whatsoever from the Middle East, adopt Sharia law, stop supporting fucking Israel. Like, I mean, it was just like all kinds of crazy shit, dude. And then
so basically they just want to turn America into the Middle East, and then they'll be like, okay, we're cool now.
They did. And so then it basically just said, pretty much like called for like further jihad until like the conditions weren't met and stuff, which is interesting because that pussy just before he fucking died wrote a letter to his fucking sons and condemned the fucking war against the United States and actually asked them and encouraged them to end it, and that it wasn't worth the lives that were lost in it.
Did he say that?
Supposedly that was one of the letters that were found in his compound, and he never published it. I think we found it, and so it could have just been propaganda.
Yeah.
But apparently, towards the end of his life, he kind of had a change of heart and was just like, "Yo,
I don't believe that, man. If he was a true."
I think he realized
if he was committed to his own religion, that would be impossible for him to do.
I think he just realized that he was just like in too deep and he was losing that shit, dude. And he didn't want his fucking sons to get involved and be like, fuck, like they're going to die doing this, but whatever. Fuck them.
I don't know, man. That would, I don't know. Anything's possible.
Yeah,
that would like make him more of a human being, I guess. Like,
yeah.
Like give him some morality, maybe is the right word.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what you'd call it.
But then that also begs the whole was 9/11 an inside job?
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we have an episode where we still need to talk about that. Like we've been planning, right?
Yeah, we still.
It branches from our Halloween special or conspiracy one, so we do, and we might actually be able to just pull together an entire episode about that.
We probably can. Like, there's a lot of compelling evidence on both sides. Like, it's pretty insane.
Dude, you want me to give you the quick synopsis on my belief of that?
Yeah.
All right, so check it out, man. I do not think 9/11 was an inside job. Okay, hands down, I do not think it was an inside job, and I can't say that enough. I do, however, think that the attacks were far more intricate, and that there was explosives pre-planted, and it was well thought out, and there was a lot more moving parts than just dudes who got on a plane with fucking cardboard box cutters.
Yeah.
And I think that they did it right under our nose, and we were warned. There's a plethora of evidence we were warned from various intelligence agencies across the world this was happening. We ignored all that shit for whatever reason. Maybe we just weren't paying attention or whatever the fuck. And then the attacks happened, and I think it was so bad.
We were embarrassed.
And we were just like, oh, like this was like a one-off like thing.
This all happened so fast, no one could have saw it coming type shit.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I think. Based on everything that I've read, that's the most logical conclusion I can come to. But what is super fishy, though, and I'm just going to end the 9/11 part with this, is that fucking the tapes for the Pentagon attack. Bro, where's the fucking debris from the plane?
The Pentagon thing was that's a whole nother deal.
And the little clip of it that was released, that shit looks like a fucking missile going into that shit, dude.
Yeah.
So it makes you fucking wonder, man. Makes you wonder.
What were they always talking about? Steel beams melt at 1200 degrees or something?
Jet fuel doesn't burn hot enough to melt steel beams.
Yeah.
And it's true. I mean, I watched tons of documentary, like live interviews with like these firefighters, and they were like, "Hey, we have molten like liquid steel here," and then there was like ammonium oxide that was, or not ammonium oxide, sorry, aluminum oxide that was being released from the towers, which has a unique grayish color to it, and the amount that it was being produced is it's a byproduct of thermite. So thermite liquefies steel.
Yeah.
So how they demolish buildings, one way they do it is like they'll cut the support beams at 45-degree angles and they'll plant thermite around it. But there was videos, a lot of them got taken down off the internet that surfaced like very early on, man, where before the planes even hit, you can see explosions in the base of the like towers and shit. So, and then, all right, so, fuck, God, I'm gonna go. All right, so like, yeah, we're definitely doing an episode about this soon, dude. I'll write out I'll make it all legit. I'll do a whole script. We'll fact check and try to poke holes in it, whatever. But might be a 3-hour episode. but what gets me is like, what happened to Tower 7? Because there was Towers 1 and 2. Tower 7 just collapsed. Never had an explanation for that. So that's what tells me the attacks were a hell of a lot more intricate.
And the whole thing of like a plane crashing into a building doesn't demolish the entire structure.
No, they pulled in architects who like designed that shit.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, they're specifically designed to withstand the force of like a fucking Boeing 747 going into the side of this thing, dude. I don't know, man. But yeah, that's how I'd fucking go back to that Bin Laden shit. Sorry, I had to take a detour at 9/11, dude. But I just, I got faith in our country, man, because you look at all this stuff, like those kids who were, doing the pro-Palestine protests, that stuff with the CEO where they were like, oh, we support all this. And they had that letter or whatever. It was at Cornell University.
I
It was
believe
one
so.
of the bigger.
Yeah.
And that CEO of that company was like, I want the names of all those people.
Because they're blacklisted.
Yeah, because I'll never hire them. And then they all like were trying to back out of it. So these kids on TikTok, they don't know what they're talking. They don't understand what they're talking about.
Which is fine, but don't defend it to your grave. Like, that's what pisses me off. Is like they're like, you don't know, but they don't fucking know. Like, they've done no research. They don't even know what they're talking about. That's what's annoying to me.
Never even been to these parts of the world.
Like, if you have a legitimate argument, I'm totally willing to listen to it and debate you. But if you're just gonna blindsidedly spew bullshit, like, dude, you can't argue with that.
I don't know, man. So I think it'll iron out. I mean, like people will realize, and especially in today's day and age, man, like everything is being documented, and it's just gonna start staying online longer and longer and longer, right? And more information is gonna get compiled. So like when you start to say dumb and stupid things, dude, like when you go for that job interview or like whatever it may be, or like try to run for office or insert whatever, it's going to get to the point where it's going to be a lot more in depth than what it is now.
Like, this was you, right? And it's just a TikTok of you talking shit about something, and like,
Bin Laden was a good guy.
You take away all his credit. He had some good ideas.
Oh my God. Imagine if you had a kid that just came out of his living room, like came out of the bedroom one day and was just like talking some crazy shit.
Like I said, man, I don't condone domestic violence. I'll be like, get out of here. I'm about to slap the shit out of you.
I'm about to slap the dog shit out of you. But I don't know. I think they'll all fold in the end too. You know what I mean? They'll come to terms. They'll realize there'll be some crazies out there, but they'll come to terms and realize it's all fucking bullshit and that they are not really willing to fight that fucking argument. You know?
I just don't understand sympathizing with people that want to kill you.
No,
I can't understand that.
Like literally, I just can't fathom it. It's like children voting for abortions, or like some shit. Like it doesn't make any sense, Like if babies could vote or whatever. They'd be like, yeah, actually, I think it's a good idea. Fuck, dude. But yeah, man, I don't know. So we'll see what comes out of that. I mean, I think that shit's pretty much like blown over. I mean, it's gonna be one of those and it wasn't even a huge trend. I mean, it was more fly by night than anything, really. I think it's basically already over now.
Yeah.
But there's been pressure put on some of these social media companies as well. Like a lot of letters been getting written. There's pressure put on the White House now. Like, hey, like, why are we allowing this to happen? Why are we allowing Bin Laden's manifesto to become a popular trending thing on TikTok?
Yet we're shutting down MAGA groups or
True.
Shit that doesn't even matter.
I didn't even think about that, but yeah. But so I have 2 points. So the point you just made with that, right? So why are we shutting down like
basic
right wing,
or dare I say pro-America?
Yeah, dude. And then you're allowing shit like this to occur, which now they're not, only because it caught so much media attention so early on and shit.
Well, hell, it's like whenever they banned Trump, but ISIS still had a Twitter. Like,
yeah. Isn't Hamas on Twitter?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. Didn't we tag him in one of our things? We were making fun of him. So, we're talking shit and just tag him. Fuck, man. We're gonna end up on a list somewhere. Fuck. What was the point I was gonna make? So there was a point where they were shutting him down. Damn, I can't remember.
You had 2 points.
Yeah, I lost
one
track.
About the MAGA shit, or like why they allow one thing but don't allow other stuff.
Oh, and then the flip side of that, because I do support free speech unconditionally, is I should have the right to read that letter if I want.
I absolutely agree with that.
But you can make the argument that children should not be able to read that. You could argue that
children do not need to be on fucking TikTok anyway.
100%. I agree with that.
Proven to melt your goddamn brain.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, when I, as a grown adult, right,
freedom to choose,
I should be able to read that literature and be able to dissect it and then be able to argue that and be like, hey, poke holes in it. And I couldn't do it for this episode because I could not find it because it's been scrubbed from the internet.
But okay, if we did allow everything, shouldn't it be like, which I do think we should allow everything, but wouldn't our media, couldn't they like do a little backstory on it and be like, hey, this is bullshit, instead of promoting it? Like, if it's a negative thing for America, the media loves to report on everything negative, but they're not going to, like, you know, like, if they're going to allow everything, they could at least like try to counteract it maybe.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's all kind of fucked anyway. But I just get mad whenever I want information, I can't get a hold of it.
And it's taken away.
Yeah. And like, so originally, like the newspaper that published it, news company that published it was The Guardian, I believe. And they, like, as soon as it was released online, like, they published it, right? And so I went to the Guardian's page and they said, as of November 15th, like this past November 15th, just a few days ago, this has been taken down. They wrote when they published it originally, and then they were like, it's been taken down since then.
I wonder who reached out to them and made them take it down.
That's interesting. Because who has the authority to tell a fucking news company like that to shut the fuck up?
The government.
Exactly. So I think they just got a phone call from somebody like in administration and was like, hey, this stops now. Or like,
but they were all, I mean, again, it's like they're comparing that, but then they shut down the Hunter Biden laptop shit too.
Yeah.
In the past.
Yeah, that is fucking true.
So it's like they nitpick things.
I don't know what the answer is to that, because they definitely nitpick, and you can tell they're all biased as shit.
100%. Every single source,
every single mainstream media news is biased as hell, dude.
Yeah.
And so that's why you got to read like a little bit from all of them, and kind of try to piece it together yourself, you know?
Because normally if CNN and Fox are both talking about the same thing and say the same words, you know, it's kind of semi-true.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's also bullshit because that shit's scripted. That's why they're saying the exact same words.
Could be a narrative.
Yeah.
You ever seen that video where it shows like all these different like news reporters? It's the exact
there's
same.
Like 48 different ones from nationwide, and they're all
saying the exact same words.
Yeah,
dude,
that's crazy.
But I'm sure there's like a behind the scenes, man. I mean, what we know for a fact, dude. I mean, what was it? The 1970? Oh shit, I can't remember. I believe it was 1970s. The director of the CIA had to testify in front of Congress, and he was asked directly, like, "Do you have agents that work in mainstream media?"
Oh yeah.
And he was like, "Yes."
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "We have several agents, like a lot, that work in mainstream media, and then they basically twist and push narratives as we
whatever
see
they
fit,
want to
as we see fit,
told or heard."
Yeah. And you think that shit's not going on today? Yeah. Yeah. It's a good video. I mean, go back, you know, look at, you know, people you want to, do you think I'm talking out my ass with that one? And, you know, and then you look at like the shit that like Elon Musk had with the Twitter files, man, when all that dropped. And that literally showed, I mean, they published like calendar dates, man,
Yeah.
like where they were like, oh,
I'm so glad that was released.
Yeah.
Like,
and it was just a revolving door with like the intelligence community and the FBI and all of this shit, man. And they were like, it was literally the government like fucking pushing a narrative. And then I saw an interview with Joe Rogan the other day, and he was talking to the comedian Andrew Schultz. I believe he was on Andrew Schultz's podcast. Sorry, damn heartburn. Anyway, and so he was on Andrew Schultz's podcast. And Schultz just straight up asked him, he was like, hey man, like, I can't remember how they got on to the topic, but he was like, have you ever been like approached by the government, like to work for, like to push a narrative and stuff? And then Joe Rogan was like, yes. He's like, multiple times. And he was like, and I've told him no every single time. He was like, they wanted to like implant people on his show
to speak about shit,
to speak about things, to push a narrative. And he said, fuck that. And he just shot him down, dude. And I was like, damn, what a gangster, dude. And we're living in a world now where it's just like literally Elon Musk and Joe Rogan are like saving us.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
Yeah.
It's a South African dude and a stand-up comedian. Like,
those are America's heroes right
now. You know, so I don't know, but I also believe that like all of this shit, all this crazy shit we've been dealing with these last few years, a lot of stuff's coming to light, man. I think this country's going to get a huge fucking cleansing from the inside out eventually. probably not going to be pretty. I think a lot of fucking people are going to lose their jobs, and like politicians and shit like that, man. I think a lot of like media companies are probably going to go under. I saw a statistic the other day, man, that CNN said that they had in one day, they had only like 40 something thousand viewers.
That's good.
How long can you keep that up?
I read something where they've been losing money like for the past pretty long time now.
Bleeding money, dude. Bleeding. So somebody's keeping them afloat.
Well, ever since the pandemic, that really made people start distrusting the government.
Mm-hmm.
Like right or left, whatever your beliefs are, you at least had to start questioning things.
Yeah. I'm still, I know I bought it. I haven't read too much of it here lately because I've been busy, man. But I bought The Real Anthony Fauci by RFK Jr., man. That's still on my like list of like to finish reading it. Once I finish reading it, like we'll talk about it on here. But apparently he pokes a lot of holes in narratives that the government have pushed in the past, you know, or things that they've claimed were like for the better.
And we're surprised that Biden denies CIA protection for
our Secret Service protection. Yeah. No shit, right? I mean, like honestly, like probably like somebody's gonna do the job.
Yeah,
you know, it's like I don't know.
Dude, they're probably gonna be like radical right wing extremist takes out RFK Jr. like just push it on that and tear the whole gun violence narrative on it again.
Photoshop a MAGA hat on him or something, you know, where it's like cheesy as fuck, you know.
It's clearly a Chinese guy.
I don't know. Well, I mean, they're clearly like, I mean, there's all kinds of dirty shit. I mean, shit. Do you want to talk about our shadow banning conspiracy for our shit?
Yeah.
Or you want to skip past that?
Nah, we might as well talk about it.
I'll let you take the lead on that. I've been ranting and raving.
Like, I know our typical shorts, they'll get anywhere between around 1,500 on a low end, up like 1,500. Anything lower than 1,500 is abnormal at this point. So whenever we get a video and it has like 20 views, I start questioning things. Because first off, all of our content is pretty... It's similar in the sense where like the videos are all consistent. We upload at the same time every day. All of our like
nothing changes.
No.
We post a short same time every single day. We post a video every Monday at the same time.
Yeah.
Right. And one thing we started to notice was certain keywords, those shorts don't get pushed. Now our shorts, like for anyone who's actually watched any of our stuff, typically what we'll do is we'll find a fact, there'll be an element of truth, and then we just layer in some like comical, like satire, humor,
bullshit type stuff.
But occasionally we make a real one where it's just, if the fact is just cool enough and interesting in itself, we'll just read that and we'll push that out there, right?
Or questionable enough. Like and specifically if it has to do with our government.
Sure, 100%.
Most of that stuff, most of the time it's too crazy. Like it sounds made up enough to where it's like, this is too true. We have to just talk about it.
And so like in all the videos we've been publishing around this one we're talking about specifically, I think our average views on the low end were actually like 3,000, but like several of them were getting like 7,500 views, stuff like that. And all these amount of views were occurring within like 24 to 48 hours.
Yeah.
That's the kicker. And so we made one video where
I mentioned CIA in the title.
Yeah.
Dead in the water.
Yeah.
So,
and then when you watched it, it was about the CIA bombing a Chinese embassy in Belgrade in 1999, and they blamed it on outdated maps. And the bombing actually killed 3 Chinese journalists. And then later it came out that they actually had up-to-date maps.
Yeah, they just did it for the hell of it.
We don't know the narrative on why they would do that bombing. I'm sure there was a reason that they thought was good or whatever, right? But we make this short. We have CIA in the title. And then in the same amount of time where we typically get 3 to say 10,000 views on a short, we got 25 views. And this is like the 3rd or 4th time this shit has happened.
Yeah, because anytime you mention government, CIA, anything, I guess, demeaning or
negative,
defaming about the government.
Yeah. Or even just like questioning it, really.
Yeah.
You know, I just think that's how you know you hit the nail on the head. You're like, oh shit.
Well, yeah, if someone is trying to silence you, normally you're saying something that they don't want spread.
Yeah, like you want to know if you actually came across something like secret that the government's doing. When you Google it, there's literally no results whatsoever that come up. Yeah. So if you want to play a game when you're bored, you know, Operation insert whatever name and see if the ones that come up completely empty were real. But I don't know. I mean, maybe it could be some bullshit. But what I think is happening with YouTube is what was happening with Twitter before Elon bought it. I think there has to be some sort of element there that is entwined with the government.
Well, we already know that YouTube analyzes every video, every piece of content that's created. That's how they can do copyright checks. They know that within a few minutes, if whenever you upload, they run that for copyright, and they know if anything is copyright infringement, which that tells you that they know what you're saying.
Yeah.
They know the content.
Using like AI for that kind of stuff?
Absolutely. There's no way a one human can do that like right off the cuff.
Because I've even had theories that like, say when we post like an hour-long video, they probably just run it through like their software or whatever, and then probably in a few seconds pick up every single word that we say.
Yeah.
You know, and they could flag it or not or whatever it may be. So fuck, maybe this video gets flagged. You know,
I'm pretty sure all of our videos get pretty.
we take some shits on people pretty hard, man. So, dude, I don't know. I want to kind of end on a funnier note. That just sounds depressing, you know. But you know, guys, if you like our stuff, man, keep liking, keep subscribing, keep pushing it, man.
Keep commenting. Like if you got a debate, if you think we're wrong about something, let us know. We'll happily argue with you.
Yeah, you know, and maybe you can change our opinions, man. We're totally open minded.
Just have an actual point. Don't be speaking no bullshit when you don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
What gets me is when we have like some stupid shit that we post where it's clearly stupid, and someone's like, "You got a source for this information?" Or my second favorite one is slander. Like you're gonna get sued in court. It's just like,
wait till I tell Oprah about this one. Like, come on.
I'm still not forgetting that dude, man. I got his username saved and everything. Like it's like I think every year, like on an anniversary, I'm gonna like send him a fucking email or some shit. You know?
You're like, "Where's Oprah? I haven't heard shit yet."
Yeah. So. Oh man. I did want to bring this up though. Did you see Joe Rogan had The Rock on?
No.
Yeah, like Dwayne Johnson or whatever. Yeah. The Rock. I haven't watched the episode, but I did.
Just dropped.
It dropped a couple days ago. I think it, like 2-3 days ago. But so he had The Rock on there. Like I said, I haven't seen the episode in its entirety, so I don't know if it's good or bad or whatever. Right? I just keep thinking about some of our plans for our shorts with him, but whatever. So he was on there, and I saw a clip, like a little short clip of this, and he was talking to Joe Rogan, obviously, and The Rock was explaining, he was like, I got friends that, that are, they're Republicans, and, they like Trump and they support Trump. And he was like, I got friends, that support Biden. And then like Joe Rogan cut him off immediately. He was like, do you really? and then The Rock just starts backpedaling like a bitch. He was like, I don't have friends that support Biden specifically. He's like, but they just support the party.
Democratic Party.
Yeah, and he just like totally was like backpedaling or whatever. But it's a funny little clip, dude.
But he does. Why is he lying?
100%. I saw it on the news too. Fox was running it. He was catching shit. They basically making fun of him for backpedaling and stuff, dude. But I don't know. I mean, Hollywood's just liberal as fuck.
Yeah, dude. Like, why are you lying, man?
I mean, I've been watching a lot of Joe Rogan here lately, dude. Did you see the newest one with Elon Musk?
Yeah.
That was a good one, dude. So on that show, they got a pizza, right? With pineapple and anchovies. Okay. Have you ever fucking tried anchovies on pizza?
Dude, I don't like anchovies.
Okay. I had never tried anchovies in my entire life. Okay. I'm not a big fish guy, but I'll eat some tuna, whatever, some cod every now and then, whatever. And so I watched this episode and they're talking about how great it is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, man, maybe I've been missing something. So I call it Papa John's, man, and I get like a fucking pizza or whatever, like I normally would get. And then I get like anchovies on it, right?
Papa John's has anchovies?
They do. Yeah, they do.
Oh, dude.
Dude.
First off, Papa John's has anchovies. They have to be old, man. Like, how long are they to sit?
Bro, I don't know, man, but I get that shit. As soon as I put that shit in my car and I was taking it home, I was like, oh my God. Like, it just smelled like death, dude. And so I get it to the house and I'm like, fuck it. You know what? Like, when in Rome, try everything.
One bite, yeah.
I take one bite, dude, and I instantly start uncontrollably gagging to the point of nearly vomiting, run to the trash can, spit it out. I just run my mouth underneath the sink. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I take the fucking pizza, I put it in the trash bag, tie it up, double tie it up, take that shit to the fucking trash can, drop that shit in there, dude. I'm like, I'm fucking out, like outside the trash can for the street. I was like, I'm done with that shit. Fuck anchovies. I don't know what kind of psychos out there like that shit.
Dude, even just the texture alone, man, it's full, like it's got all the bones in it still.
Dude,
like,
yeah, and it's got hairs on it and shit too, like little hairy fish.
Man.
Fucking gross, man. And I like Futurama growing up too, man. And like Fry would always get like fucking anchovies on pizza and stuff. So I was like, it's gotta be good, man. Like, try this shit. I don't fucking know. Whatever. Anyway, all I want to say is if you like anchovies on pizza, you're a fucking psychopath.